Welcome to another session with Market Trader. My name is Ray, the Market Trader, and welcome to another pre-market review session. So before we get started on the charts, let's go ahead and take a look at the risk disclosure. All right. So just to remind everyone that the content that's being published and distributed by the Market Trader and its affiliates is to be treated as general information only. None of the information provided is intended as investment advice and offered to buy, sell, recommend, endorse, sponsor any future security, company, or fund. Use of the information contained is to be used at your own risk, and the company's partners, representatives, agents, employees, and contractors assume no responsibility or liability for any use or misuse of such information. Future trading does carry a fair amount of risk. It's not for every investor. An investor could potentially lose all or more of their investment capital, and only risk capital money that can be lost without jeopardizing one's financial security or lifestyle should be used for trading, and only those individuals with sufficient risk capital should consider trading. Again, nothing contained herein is a solicitation or an offer to buy, sell futures, options, or Forex. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right. So now that we got the risk disclosure out of the way, we'll go ahead and pop into the news here and see what news we have that could impact the markets. We have S&P manufacturing coming in to that 945. Okay. 945. That's coming in. We have ISM PMI coming in at 10 a.m. Across a number of fronts. And then we have Fed members speaking. We have Fed member Bostic speaking at 12:30 p.m. today. And then we have a couple of other Fed members speaking, but that I suspect should not affect us in the markets, at least during the New York session. Okay. All right. So now that we have a feel for the news and what we have in the horizon as far as news goes, let's go ahead and start to look at the markets. So we're going to go ahead and open up the markets. And the market of choice to start with is our gold. No. Okay, to start. And let's see here. Okay, all right, there it is. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and turn off some of these indicators here temporarily as we navigate what the market is telling us here. Okay. So first thing we're going to take a look at is the daily chart. Okay, so we had, as you are probably well aware if you trade this market, the gold has been on a pretty good run of late. Okay, we had a gap open on Thursday. Okay, and at the end of the month, and now we are developing kind of an indecisive candle with a very quite a long buying wick. Okay. Looking at the volume delta, you see that volume delta is quite strong. Okay, so price is aligned with the movement that we're seeing currently in the market. Okay, moving on to the 4-hour chart. For our chart, we have our series of higher highs and higher lows in this market. I'm gonna go ahead and remove this here. Okay, again, you can see that volume delta is increasing in volume, right? As we develop some bullish 4-hour candles. Okay, and we are above our 233-day EMA. Okay, all indicating that maybe there is some further upside potential in this market. Okay, all right, moving on to the 30-minute chart. 30-minute chart, you can see we have our daily VWAP, which price is above. We're going to go ahead and open up our fixed range volume profile for Friday. Okay, and establish that here on this chart. So there it is. Oh, I think I picked the wrong date here. Let's try this again. Right about there. Okay, drag that across to the close of Friday right here. Okay, so you can see that price is currently right at the edge of value. Okay, right at the upper end of value here. So we're going to go ahead and mark that up here. Okay, from Friday. So I always like to compare where price is in relation to yesterday's session. And you can see that price is right on the highs of value. Okay, so right now, I would say that until we break above, then we have a fair chance that maybe we get maybe a potential range day. Okay, in this market, right? So if we cannot break above this 2854 level, okay, then I would suspect that we will, rotate back down to maybe back down to the low of value here. Okay. So let's go ahead and open up fixed range. Our anchor VWAP here. Okay. So there's our anchor VWAP. Price is very much above. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and open up our initial balance. Okay. So that's been establishing, I should say. Okay, so we're first 30-minute candle here. We're only 15 minutes into the open of the market here. Okay. Next order of business is open up our average daily range high and average session range highs. Okay, so we're going to go ahead. Okay, so we're above London. Okay, and we still have not reached the daily levels 2865. Okay. So again, indicates the fact that we were able to break and extend above the average session range for London. Again, is another indication of bullish price action. Okay, and maybe the potential of maybe a sustained move in gold. Okay, last order of business for me is to really witness and see if price is able to get above value and maybe break above this initial balance range. But I do see that we are a bit extended away from our VWAP. Okay, so I feel like maybe there is, especially given that we have a developing bearish candle, that there's a possibility of maybe a pullback of some sort here. Okay, down to maybe average session range high before we see continuation move to the upside. Okay, and quite frankly, I would want to see some sort of pullback to be honest, before I would want to participate to the long side. Okay, right now I feel like I'm paying a little bit of retail, although we do have a bearish engulfing. I do feel like maybe there is a little bit of a retracement here in store for this market before we continue higher. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and add my price levels to this market. That we're tracking. So we'll go ahead and add those here. Okay, so these are some of our price levels that we're tracking in this market. We have 2837. Actually, we're going to modify that a little bit. Let's see, New York, I don't think so. We'll modify this to 2837. 2837. Average session range high. Okay. And then we have our average daily range high is up here at 2864.4. Okay, or 7, either is within tolerance. And then we have a supply zone that's kind of, you can see that we are seeing some rejection away from 2860. Okay, so we have value area high here at 2852.5, which is where price currently is. Now, the question for me is, does price manage to get above value? If so, then I would say that we have a reasonable chance of maybe reaching not only average daily range high, but maybe even potentially extending it. Okay. So we'll have to see how this current candle closes, and then the candle that follows it. Okay, to basically wait for the market to establish the initial balance range, and then once we have the initial balance range established, then we can maybe start to think about maybe a potential execution in the market here. Okay, right now it feels like the market is quite bullish. Okay, especially on the 30-minute chart, daily, and certainly is equally as bullish. Okay, so it seems to me that we need to be waiting for opportunities that are aligned with the bullish trend. Okay, that means that we need to wait for locations where we can manage our risk, manage our opportunities. Such as waiting for initial balance to break on one side, and maybe wait for the initial balance touch, and participate on that drive higher. Okay. All right. Good morning, Marcelo. Good morning, Shark Trends. All right. So let's go ahead and move on. I think that's kind of what I have to say for gold. It's like I said, right now, I think we need to wait and look for opportunities to the bullish side. There's certainly, I would say, there is always a possibility that we come back to, say, one of these VWAPs at some point during the session, since we are quite extended to the upside. So we don't spend too much time away from VWAP before price wants to come back and retest the VWAP. You can see here we had a push lower, a retest back to VWAP, and then a continuation. So that's kind of what I'm expecting here to some degree. Is at some point we'll make maybe a little bit of a pullback back down to VWAP, and then we'll be given an opportunity maybe to participate to the long side. The alternative would be if price extends initial balance high, and then we use initial balance high at 2852.5 or 2852.52, I guess, and maybe use that as a reference level to support further price action to the upside. Okay. All right. So now that we've gotten a review, now that we've reviewed gold, let's move on to the crude oil market. Okay. So crude oil market, we'll go ahead and drop down to the daily chart. Take a look at what the daily's telling us. Looks like we got a little bit of a gap open here. I don't know if that's a result of contract rollover in contracts, or whether that's a legitimate or not. I'd have to double confirm that. But let's see here. We're going to go ahead and turn off our ADR levels and our ASR levels, and ask ourselves the question: well, what is the market trying to accomplish? Well, up until this candle here, market has appeared to want to head lower. Okay. Now that we have a gap open. Okay. Prices we have left a gap, indicating that maybe there is some bullish interest in this market, right? So we're going to mark that in. Okay. So there's our gap. Okay. Go ahead and remove that. So with that gap, we broke the channel to the upside. Now the question is, are we going to get a follow-through candle that leads us to maybe potential higher prices, or is this merely a pullback? It's hard to believe that's a pullback given the gap, but if this was a pullback, maybe there's a potential that it continues lower. Okay. Taking a look at the 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart, here we have our series of bullish candles. We had a spike here of some sort. Okay. Right around the close or open of Asia. And then we've been consistently pushing higher in this market. Okay. So we're starting to break some structure. Okay. We're now above 74, and we have 75 in its sights. Okay. So As long as we continue to break some structure to the upside, then you would have to think that price it will continue higher. Okay. Looking at the 30-minute chart. 30-minute chart, here's our gap that we established on the daily chart. We had a spike, a pretty strong spike here on the VWAP on the start of the session here. Okay. And now we are, price is hovering above VWAP. Okay. Let's see where my EMA is. EMA is also above. Okay. So price is above our EMA and above our daily VWAP. I'm going to go ahead and open up our anchor VWAP for maybe down this area here. Okay, you can see that's above, and then I'm going to draw maybe one other anchor VWAP here closer to the session here, and that's right around the start of London, right about there. Okay, so you can see that price is above in both scenarios. Okay, so again, indications that maybe that we might be beginning some sort of bullish trend in the crude oil market. Okay, we have volume delta seems to be aligned with the current price move that we're seeing. Okay, up until then, we've been getting some overlapping, kind of volume delta bars, but we have a definitive volume delta bar with I guess a developing bullish engulfing candle of late. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and open up our fixed range volume profile here. We're about 6 minutes or so away from the open of the market here. So we'll see where price is in relation to Friday's value. Okay, so we'll go ahead and drag that, open that out, and we can see that price is above value, indicating that maybe the bulls, that bulls are indeed in control of the market at the moment. Okay. And that we probably should be looking for maybe potential bullish opportunities in this market. All right. Let's go ahead and open up our ADR and ASR just to get a sense of where we are in relation to those. Right in the middle of ADR. Okay. And still kind of on the maybe upper third of ASR. Okay. So we'll go ahead and add our price levels to this chart. Here are our price levels. Okay, so we have just going to spot check some of these. We have value area high here at 72.85. 85, let's see, 72.90. Okay, value area high. Value area low is coming in at 72.20. Okay, 72.19. That's within tolerances. And let's see, we have average session range low here at 73.22. Okay, modify that a little bit. It's a little bit higher than normal. Okay. And then we have average session range high here at 74.82. Okay. All right. So again, initial balance is still a ways away, not ways away, but a few minutes away. I'm going to be waiting for the initial balance to establish in this market, and then decide from there or let the market participants decide which direction they want to take the market. If it feels like they'd like to take the market higher, but it's difficult to say because we are coming into some areas of congestion here, okay, on the left-hand side that could cause price to falter, okay, could cause price to do some of the same things it's done here every time it's gotten to some of these areas, okay. So 74.82, 75 certainly would be maybe a potential area where I would maybe consider a short of some sort, okay. If we do manage to get above it, then maybe I can make a case for maybe 75 is certainly a level that I've been watching for some time in this market, and I don't necessarily anticipate that that level is going to break on the first attempt. Okay, so 75 or 75 range is probably going to be an area where we might see some resistance if we do get some sort of rally here. And we could see maybe a little bit of a reversal since that's the average daily range high. Okay. Otherwise, we're going to wait for our initial balance range to establish. They're about 3 minutes away from that taking place. and wait for participants to drive price in whatever direction they plan to take it, using initial balance as our guide. Okay. So until that happens, I think right now it feels like market wants to head higher. Um, we are starting to see maybe that we are breaking a little bit of structure here to the upside, but I am a little guarded if here, because of the fact that we are coming into some areas where we've seen resistance in the past, and that could cause price to falter. Okay. All right. So that's kind of what I'm seeing in the crude oil market. That's why I'll be kind of focusing on the crude oil market. Me personally, I'm going to be looking at the initial balance range and see what initial balance range offers me. I'm going to be kind of keen to understand exactly how this current candle closes here in the next minute or so, and whether that offers maybe some momentum to the upside, or whether that's just merely a candle that maybe will give an indication that maybe it wants to go higher, but ends up reversing. Okay. All right. Let's take a look now into the equity markets, and the equity of choice for everyone is the NASDAQ, right? So let's take a look at the NASDAQ. We had a little gap lower. Okay. I guess maybe with all the tariff talk and maybe implementing some of those tariffs. Okay. So let's take a look here at the daily. All right. So we see that price is kind of a gap lower here. Okay. So let's turn off our ADR here, turn off our ASR here, and initial balance for now, and ask ourselves a question. Well, you can see that of late we've been kind of in this range, right? We've had a couple of gaps here, both to the downside, but we haven't really broken any significant structure to the downside as of yet. Now, we did manage to get below, or actually currently testing this 21,200 level. Okay, that seems to be an area of importance. And then we have 20,800, 20,900 just below us. Okay, so right now we seem to be in some sort of kind of rangy kind of price action in this market. Moving on to the 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart, again, we see that the gap that is established. I don't know the result of this gap, but I suspect, again, it has to do with maybe some of the news that we've been reading about the tariffs. So the day opened with a gap lower. Okay, so again, indicating that maybe there is some further downside opportunities in this market. I don't know, but certainly this gap will serve as kind of maybe a litmus to what upside we might see in this market. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and mark that in, and going to color that in red. Okay. So this area right here, I suspect, is going to be an area where we might see some potential sellers in this market. Okay. So looking at the 30-minute chart. Okay, 30-minute chart, I suspect we're probably below our volume profile. If I do my fixed range volume profile and I locate Friday, I suspect that price is below our volume profile value area. Okay, so let's go ahead and drag this across. Sure enough, we are well below it. Okay, so again, I would say that this area right here could serve as an area for that would be resistant here at 20,000. Let's call it 21,700, somewhere in that range. But at the edge of value here, that would be an area that I would suspect that we could, if we do get a rally to that level, that area could be an area where we could get a reversal in price. Okay. We have the EMA, my 233-day EMA, that could serve as another area for maybe potential reversal in price. So a couple of locations here to look for, given this gap. Okay. For bearish executions. Okay. All right. A couple areas here. Right. And then we have our value, our VWAP. Okay. Price is currently above our VWAP. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and open up our anchor VWAP. locate the start of London here, right about here. So pretty meager kind of move that we've gotten so far in the Nasdaq during the London session. Okay, so really no direction has been mapped out, I guess, in the overnight. Okay, so we'll have to wait and see what the market brings. Wait for the market to open up here and decide where it wants to take it. We have price is above our VWAP, but it's very, how we say, a VWAP that is quite flat. Okay, not really giving us much in the way of understanding direction here. Okay, so we'll have to wait and see. Given this, I would say that maybe the move is potentially lower. Okay, in this market, that's kind of what I'm seeing. Looking at the volume delta, we're seeing the volume delta bars are also equally bearish. But we do see that we are maybe getting a little bit of interest here on the bullish side. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm seeing. Let's go ahead and add our levels to this chart. Okay, before we move on to the ES. All right, so here we are. We're going to go ahead and open up our ADR and ASR. Okay, so ADR, we're already at our ADR levels and hugging our ADR low. And then we're going to go ahead and open up our ASR. And ASR, we're kind of mid-range, middle of the pack. Okay, so price came down to average daily range low and it's kind of held so far. Okay. We got I guess a relatively nice bounce off of that low here at around 21,000. Okay, and now the question is, do we have the momentum to continue? Okay, the fact that we have this gap, obviously the gap is going to get filled at some point, but since the gap is lower, my feeling is that eventually this is going to cause maybe price or a market to potentially move lower. Okay, so I have a couple of areas here that I identified, value area low and my EMA, that will serve as kind of some price levels that I'll be watching to see if that offers me an opportunity where price comes up to either of those levels. Okay, and offers me an opportunity for price to continue lower. Okay, those are kind of my two areas of interest. Okay. Until then, well, I have to wait for this initial balance range to establish. And once the initial balance range establishes, and if it's a relatively narrow range, well, that will give me some insight as to where they want to potentially take the market, and I can use the initial balance break as a guide to the direction they want to take the market. Okay. So right now, given this gap lower, I would say that my view is a bit bearish. Okay, but I'd like to see maybe if we can get a rally into some of this area here that I kind of highlighted, and then maybe potentially take a short from that point. Okay, that's kind of my current view of the Nasdaq. All right. Right now, we're just kind of we seem to be kind of hovering in this malaise. Okay, not really picking any sort of direction in either way. So we'll probably have to wait. Maybe some of these news reports, PMI, among others, will cause the market to move. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm seeing in the Nasdaq. We'll move on to the ES. Okay, we're going to go ahead and turn off our ASR and ADR here. We're going to go ahead and open up the daily. We have the same gap that we had that was established, is also evident in the ES, which is no surprise. Okay, so here we are. We have that same gap, that gap down. Okay, in an otherwise market has been kind of, I would say, at best ranging. Okay. Highs of 61.60, lows of 58.80. Okay. Moving on to the 4-hour chart. For our chart, we have our gap down. Okay. And now we're up against this area here. Okay, a good part of the area. And the question is, are we going to fill the gap, or is this gap going to serve as an area of resistance that could drive price lower? Okay. Moving on to the 30-minute chart. 30-minute chart, we've been kind of hovering on the lower end of VWAP here. So we had a spike down on VWAP. Now we've kind of are kind of hovering around VWAP, not really giving us any indication where they want to take the market here. We're going to go ahead and open up my fixed range volume profile, which I already feel I know the answer to this question, but I will draw it anyway. So we're going to go ahead and draw the fixed range volume profile. And you can see that price is well below our value area here. Again, this area right here could serve as an area for continuation move to the downside. I know that's well a ways away for the market. We also have our EMA level at 60.60. So these are kind of a couple of levels here that I'm going to use as areas to target, maybe for if I decide to go bullish, those would be reasonable targets, or be more patient and wait for price to come to these levels for a reversal. Okay, these are kind of the two levels that I'm looking at. Okay, in this market. All right, let's go ahead and add our ADR levels. Okay, so ADR similar to NASDAQ. We're hugging our ADR low at the moment. Kind of pulled away from it a bit. And then we're also right above our average session range as well. Okay. So again, very similar look and feel to the NASDAQ that we're experiencing with the S&P. So the only last bit of business that I need to do here is to add our levels. Okay. Add our levels to this chart here. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and add them. Okay, these are our levels that I'm tracking in this chart. We have 6160, that's well above. We have average session range high. Actually a little bit off here. So let's see. Average session range high is 6007. Okay, 6007 is our, let's see, 600750. This is going to adjust again once the U.S. session opens here, but we'll capture the London average session. And then we have, let's see, we have value area high. We've raised up above here at 60, we got here, 61.4750, 61.4750, 47.50. Okay, let's modify this here as well. 61 average, 61. $61.4750. And then we have value area low coming in at 60.8050. 60.8050. Modify that, 60.80. 80.50. Okay. Let's see what else do we have going on here. We got value area live, point of control is above us at 61.35. Is this really true? Yeah. 61.35 is our point of control from Friday. 61.3650. 61.3650. 61.3650 is point of control. And then let's see, we're going to go ahead and open up our settlement price here. Settlement is coming in at 60, 67.25. Okay, 60, 67.25. That is accurate. Value area low, we've already captured. Average session low, 59, 53.50. Okay, and then we have average daily low here at 59.43. 59.43. Okay, so there we have it. So right now, again, really difficult to say here exactly what direction we're going to take this. We are near some average lows that could offer us some support for maybe a move higher. We do have some areas above that. Given this gap, I'm going to be kind of maybe potentially leveraging here. Okay. I don't know if this is necessarily an overreaction to cause the price to go down, or whether we use this as an area to support maybe a further bearish move in this market. Okay. All right. Let's see. I think we're gonna go ahead and close off this session with a review of the Dow. Okay. And let's see the Dow. All right. So here we are, the Dow. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the daily. The daily looks like it's offering the same kind of outlook as these others. Okay, we've come up to this area at 45,000, which I have marked in red, and that was met with some sellers. Okay, now we have a gap down. Okay, gap down being established that took place. Okay. And now we are, looking potentially to head lower. Okay, that's kind of what we're seeing on the daily. Volume delta seems to be somewhat aligned. Okay, we had a very nice volume delta bar head lower. We have not quite as strong a volume delta bar currently, but price is moving lower. Moving on to the 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart. We have our gap. We are kind of developing some candles above our 233-day EMA. Kind of a little bit of a bearish candle of that's being developed currently. So the question is that going to be another leg to the downside? Okay, in this market. Okay, if so, it needs to get below some of these levels here to the left. Okay, we have 43,800, 43,700. So if we manage to get below those levels, then we start opening the door for maybe further price action lower. Okay, moving on to the 30-minute chart. 30-minute chart. We've been kind of hovering. I would say this probably looks a little bit more bearish to me than the other equity markets that I've witnessed so far. Now, I will have to say that we did make it below this average daily low, okay, and we have yet to exceed above it, okay. Now we are at average. So we reached average daily low, and now we're kind of responding off a bit off of average session range low, okay. Now the question is, if we are going to continue, okay, to the downside. Well, price is below our VWAP. Price is below our anchor VWAP, I suspect. Let's find London here in this. Yeah, it's below London as well, but we are in an area where we could potentially cause price to rally here a little bit. Okay. And maybe rally back up to some of to the gap, okay, before we see any sort of continuation move to the downside, okay. If we manage to break below 43,991, then we can use 43,991 as an area for price continue to the downside, okay. But we need that price event first, okay. Otherwise, we probably would be better served in waiting for price to move higher and sell strength, okay, rather than sell at maybe what might be considered retail pricing here at the current level, okay. If anything, this might be an area for long, okay, using the average session range low as an area to, I guess, define your risk. But in order for that to transpire, I minimally need to see price break above 44,000. Okay, 44,100 or 44,140 to really give me an indication that there is some bulls in the market. Okay, right now I see that we are in this kind of range here. Okay, kind of in a bearish channel. If I'm going to embrace along, well, I need to see price I need a price event above this bearish channel before I'm willing to entertain anything in the way of a bullish trade. Okay. Let's see. We're going to go ahead and open up. Wait, ADR is already open. Fixed range is yet to be open, but I suspect I know the answer to that question, given the little gap down here. Okay, so we'll go ahead and open up the fixed range volume profile. We'll drag that across to the close. All right, so here we are. Okay, so there's our value area low. Again, this could offer us another area that also happens to be at the same location as our EMA, 233-day EMA. So this area right here, right around 44,663, could offer us maybe an area for maybe a potential short. Okay, if it's unable to accept value, then that could offer us another location, and that would be a little bit preferred because we're selling strength. Okay, so let's see. I don't have any sort of price levels in this market right now. Similar to the other equity markets, it does appear that I would say that maybe this even appears a little bit more bearish than some of the other equity markets that I've seen so far. There seems to be a little bit of weight here to the downside for maybe a continuation move in this market. Okay, so of the three, I would say that the Dow seems to be the weakest. Okay, so I think with that said, I think that's pretty much what I have. We're going to kind of pop in here and see if there's any questions in chat on the markets in general. But I would say right now across the board, it appears equities are looking a bit bearish, and I would say commodities are a bit bullish. That's kind of what I'm the kind of a high level summary of the analysis here. But I'm going to be patient and wait for my initial balance to establish before I decide to take on any sort of executions. So with that said, guys, trade well, trade safe, trade like a pro, be a market trader, guys. So don't be shy with the likes and subscribes, and comment on whether how this analysis has supported your trading. Always welcome that. And then also consider joining the membership. Again, I'm offering this as a analysis as open to the public, with the hope that I get some additional memberships to the overall portal membership. Okay, so this analysis is available for the Market Trader Plus level. Okay, and then we have the Market Trader Pro level, which will give you access to me and live trading. Okay. All right. With that said, guys, we'll go ahead and close off the session here. Again, trade well, trade safe, trade like a pro, be a market trader. All right, guys, have an excellent day trading.